February 14th, 2020.
This is Nerd Bourbon episode 141. I'm Seth Sturgill.
And I'm Todd Sturgill.
Well, let's get right into the news.
Fuck no.
We do have, I joke, but we do have a lot of news to talk about, Todd.
I mean, I know that, but we're not, this is...
But we're not getting right into the news.
There's a system to this.
We cannot break tradition in this way. Speaking of tradition, Todd, happy Valentine's Day. Will you be mine, Todd?
I'm always yours.
Good old Valentine's Day, the day that was created by card companies to sell cards.
Right?
It's so funny because I've had so many people ask me, oh, what are you and the wife doing for Valentine's Day, this, that, and the other? I'm like, nothing. We haven't celebrated Valentine's Day in years. We did when we first got together, but we have not celebrated Valentine's Day in probably 9 years. It's just stupid. I don't know.
I mean, I work in a fucking grocery store. And this shit it's pretty dumb right now.
You guys sell cards there?
It's not the cards that are the big thing right now.
It's like the chocolates and all
Dude,
that crap.
Like there's a lot of just like really, really stupid. Well, I actually have my store director is really good on like the decoration for like holiday shit. So he's gone. I'll respect the man. He's gone above and beyond for some stuff. And like one of the main things we do sell is chocolate dipped strawberries.
Ah.
So we got, dude, like every manager and their mother is like over there dipping strawberries. and obviously flowers. Flowers is like I got so many flowers in my back room right now, like taking up my space. I'm ready to kick Floral's ass.
For me, I'm just like, why do you got to have one designated day to be like nice to your spouse? Or go out to dinner, or like buy a gift for them.
That's what the fucking world tells you to do.
It's just like, you know what we do? Like when we want to buy each other something or do something nice, we just fucking do it. Mm-hmm. Doesn't have to be on Valentine's Day. I don't know. It actually really irks me. I mean, look, you do you. I don't care. It's a free country. I don't give a fuck what you're doing for Valentine's Day. But it's not my cup of tea. Never has been. Although, it is funny. Before some things happened with my wife's schedule, we were planning on going to Olive Garden. Yeah, as you well know, Todd, all roads have been leading to Olive Garden.
I mean, I feel lately. Like you forced it in this time.
Well, no. Well, because it's relevant. Because it literally was something we were going to do as a result. I was telling her, I was like, God, like, between everything that's been happening with the podcast lately, somehow Olive Garden keeps coming up. And I just feel like the universe is shifting me in an Olive Garden direction. And she's like, we can go there. Like, maybe that'll be... Because we'll get dinner together maybe a day after, or 2 days after, something like that.
See, that's... after Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
See, that there is the power move, because it's like, do it when everybody else is already done.
Yeah, no, we're not trying to fucking squeeze in there like sardine cans. Every restaurant in the world, from fucking McDonald's to a Michelin star restaurant, is going to be packed on Valentine's Day. So, yeah, we don't even bother trying to go out to eat on the actual day. We'll go the day before or the day after or whatever, if we do it at all. Sometimes we'll like kind of recreate our first date kind of shit, whatever.
That's really lame.
Well, on our first date, we just had Domino's. So it's like, sometimes we'll just get Domino's. And we just keep it simple. We had a really weird pizza on our first date that we never get. It was like a chicken bacon ranch pizza.
Ooh, no.
It was actually good. It was weird. So like, this is a tangent, but we were both, it was one of those things where you're on your first date, you're both kind of shy and awkward, And we're looking at the menu, like, I don't know, whatever you want. Oh, this sounds good. That sounds good. And we ended up getting a fucking stupid chicken bacon ranch pizza.
God, no.
And so now it's, every now and then we will get that, just to sort of recreate it. But anyway, Olive Garden was going to happen for me. It no longer is. But I know that one day very soon. I mean,
I know... The next time me and you meet up in person, we're gonna be going to fucking Olive Garden.
Yeah, that's just gonna have to happen.
But a live recording of Nerd Bourbon.
You know what? We actually could do that. I could bring that. I could bring
the road
that.
mic?
Yeah, I could bring that Rode mic with
That'd
me.
be fucking hilarious. Holy shit.
That would be really funny. Yeah, I just know. I feel the pull. You know what I'm saying? I feel the pull to the Olive Garden. It's gonna happen one day very soon. I want to see some movies. There's some movies out. I want to see Birds of Prey. I want to see Sonic.
Oh shit! Is Sonic out? Fuck.
Yeah, Sonic came out.
I do want to see Sonic.
Apparently, it's not bad. Apparently, it's pretty fun. So I want to see it, and I don't know. It's like these things. Just the moons have to align for these things to happen for me. Todd, what have you been playing this week?
Call of Duty.
Lord, nobody knows that more than I.
Oh yes, you received. I mean, not all of them were about Call of Duty, but a majority.
I'd say about a third of the 68 snaps you sent me.
Yeah.
Were about Call of Duty.
Well, so yeah, the season 2 just hit. You know, they brought back Ghost as an operator. Everybody and their mother's playing as Ghost.
Oh, they also, one really cool thing that I thought was pretty cool that they brought back was the fucking 50 gig update.
Yeah. Yeah, that shit took a little minute.
When you showed me that, I was like, "Oh my god, where do they get off doing this shit?"
You know, I didn't even actually look. I didn't even look how many gigabytes it's taking up on my hard drive. I need to because it's probably some dumb shit. But yeah, season 2 hit in Modern Warfare, so I was like checking that out. You know, they added the Atlas Superstore, which is essentially like Costco, like a Costco ass map.
Oh, it's actually like a brand new map.
Yeah, straight.
Okay.
I mean, it might be I don't know. It might be a retextured one. I don't know.
You never know these days.
I didn't recognize it. I didn't recognize any of the layouts. So I think it is a new map.
Okay.
It's basically like a Costco superstore sort of setup. I like it. It's not bad. Then they did bring back Rust, and I think I mentioned it off camera. Is like I forgot how much I don't like Rust.
Right.
Definitely not going to be fucking with that 6v6 mosh pit playlist that they got. But
what's the deal with that?
Oh, it's just, it's
just
basically
6v6?
Rust 24/7, just on with every game mode essentially.
I see.
Online, I'll pass on all that. With the new update, with like the new season, there was like actually some major updates to some of like the perks, and like some of the weapons got like nerfed and buffed and shit like that. I don't know like the nitty gritty of that, and I don't really give a fuck. But like the one that affected me was they moved Overkill from perk 1 to perk 2, so you could no longer have Overkill and Ghost. Because that's a little OP if you think about it. So, well, I mean, it didn't really affect me too much, but now now it got to be to the point where I'm like, okay, I guess I might start using pistols. And so I'm already like max level in the game, so I was like, if I'm going to use a pistol. By the way, granted, I have never actually used the pistol in this game, except maybe when I first started playing.
So what is the max level in the game? Is it 100?
I mean, the max level for like earning shit is like 55, like it used to be. But you can just keep on leveling up for the sake of leveling up for people like, I don't know, to feel like they're accomplishing something. I don't fucking know. Okay. I don't really give a shit. But, so I actually, I started using the Desert Eagle, whatever. And one of the main reasons I was even like kind of excited to start using handguns is they brought back the akimbo sort of a deal setup that used to be able to do in the older Call of Duties. And they brought it back as a perk, like the weapon perks. So that became my goal. I legitimately sat there. I had some double weapon XP tokens. And Daddy went to work using handguns for the first time in this game. Started out pretty rough, I won't lie to you.
Oh, I believe
handguns. Handguns are secondaries for a fucking reason. The amount that I got turned on, because it's just like it's not good. It didn't start out good. It's when I started getting all the attachments and I just like kind of like changed the way I played. And I ended up like really just, dude, I started sniping people with the Desert Eagle. That's when I knew it was like, I'm like, all right. That's when I knew I hit a certain peak with the handgun when I was like sniping motherfuckers with it.
You do occasionally run into that strange motherfucker who's who's just like running around doing work with a handgun.
It's essentially how I ended up doing. I had to be because like there was like one of the things was like, it's just like, dude, I was just trying to do work. Like honestly, what it really would have sped it up for me is if the shipment playlist was still live. If the shipment playlist was still live when I was doing this, oh dude, it would have been sweet. It would have been so sweet. I probably would have leveled it up even faster. But yeah, ended up getting to like level 1 to like. It's at least 40 plus right now. I think it's like maybe close to like almost maxed out at like I think it maxes out at 50 maybe. I don't know. But I got what I wanted. I got my akimbo. I jumped into a game with my akimbo deagles. I got those all set up the way I want with like my attachments. And it takes me back to my Modern Warfare 2 days. Running around with a sniper, like the intervention. And like my secondary akimbo deagles. God, it took me back.
Took you back to that dual wielding shotgun days.
I had a class with that. I won't lie. I had my was it the dog rapist shit?
Yeah.
But no, the main setup I used to use on Modern Warfare 2 was like intervention or Barrett with like my my akimbo deagles, and they're honestly I feel like they're better in this game because I just dead ass run around and just I don't do that shit where you like alternate fire. I dead ass just I click both triggers once and they're just dead.
Nice.
2 shots done. I love it. It was worth the suffering that I endured.
It was worth the entire day of your life you dumped into it.
It was well after the one of the shittiest days of work.
That's basically
what I wanted.
That's what the doctor ordered right there.
It's essentially it's what I wanted to do. I think I even like in one of the snaps I was like, I just wanted to come home and brainlessly kill shit because that's where I was because I was so fucking fed up with like work. I was like, it's time. But yeah, that's basically all I've been fucking doing.
You know, it's funny. I've been so I talked about this a little bit last week in terms of what's been going on. So the Gigantamax Toxtricity thing is happening in Pokemon Sword and Shield. I did catch mine. I did go ahead and level it up to 100 and get it all set up the way I want it to be. That's done. I'm happy with that.
What's the anything special about it?
The fact that it can Gigantamax.
Oh, that's about it?
Yeah.
No, like special like bullshit?
No, I mean like with Gigantamaxing, it really does make the difference because like versus just a standard Dynamax, because not only does it visually have a different design, obviously, but it also just the stats go up even higher than Dynamaxing. So it's worth, and it's fun to jump on there and grab a Gigantamax Pokemon. I would love to eventually have all of my team with Gigantamax forms eventually, so we'll see how that happens. But did that, cleared up. I think I mentioned last week on the show that I cleared up, or I was working on clearing up all of the 200cc Mario Kart cups, and I finally did that. So it was nice.
You sickened me.
So I have now effectively I've 100%ed that game, which is nice. That was a good feeling. But again, the main thing, because Darksiders Genesis comes out today at the time you're listening to this.
I mean, I think my shit's ready to use right now.
Is it?
Well, yeah, at the time of this recording, deadass.
Really? Oh, actually, yeah, because I think because we pre-ordered it, we get it a day early.
Yeah.
Well. Maybe we'll have to fool with that today. Either way, so that's a thing. Darksiders Genesis is out and about now. But, it's pretty much just chipping away at Dragon Quest XI S Definitive Edition on Switch. Now, I wanted to stop and talk about this for a second. Not about the game. I've said enough about the game. But I was telling you recently that I had heard people online, just on forums and stuff, talking about the game, talking about how the game is broken into acts, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I wonder what act I'm on, because at this point, I'm like 30 plus hours into the game. No, bitch, I'm still on Act 1, or I was still on Act 1. Now I have finally gotten past Act 1. Bro, This game, you don't even meet the villain of this game until you're like 40 hours in.
Are you serious?
Yes.
That's hilarious.
Bro, I am like 38, 39 hours in, and I literally just met the villain of the game. It's so funny. And this is... I'm going to give a spoiler warning here. So if you don't want to hear spoilers about the really kind of generic story of Dragon Quest XI, you don't really play Dragon Quest games for the story. It's not really about the story. So I'm going to spoil it. If you care, just skip ahead a few minutes, I guess. But so what happens essentially is the setup of the game is like, oh, you're the chosen one, you're the luminary. You have to find the fucking Dragon Balls, basically, and you have to find these like 6 orbs. And
that ass. Find the dragon.
Yeah, and you have to like take them to the altar of Yggdrasil, the world tree, and reclaim the Sword of Light. It's very old school Japanese RPG, very very old school, right? And you do that. You go to these different corners of the world. There's like a snowy region, a desert region, the various regions of the game. And finally, you do all of that, and you get there, and everything looks like it's legit. But then the bad guy shows up, essentially, and he fucks everybody over, just summarily rapes your entire party.
All right, then.
And he grabs the heart of Yggdrasil, and he destroys the entire world. So, it's kind of cool.
What? Destroys the entire world?
Yes.
But how are you playing?
Well, not literally destroyed. Like the world is in ruin now.
Okay.
It's actually reminded me a little bit of Final Fantasy VI in that way, because Final Fantasy VI is kind of the same way, where it's like I'm like 40 hours into Dragon Quest XI, and then you get to what you feel like is kind of the end, and then you lose, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of a cool vibe, and so now it's actually funny because the way that it's set up, I could only imagine people who played this game when it first came out, because after Act 1, shit kind of gets weird. So there's this underwater community of like mermaids. There's like underwater area. It's called Nautica. And
really great name.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's very this game is very straightforward in that way. And you wake up there and you've been turned into a fish.
What?
Yes. And you spend like an hour as this fish. And then once you finally kind of like get everything back together and get back onto the world, you realize the world has been like completely fucked. And then the game sort of becomes, we have to get the band back together. You have to go through.
So how long were you technically a fish?
Like
in like
30 minutes to an hour. In the lore of the game.
Yeah, in the lore of the game.
For a while. So basically the mermaids make you this fish so that you can survive under the water, So what's funny is that's all that happens in the main version of the game. They kind of, with the definitive version on Switch, they sort of give you these little interstitials where you actually play as all of the other party members and you get to see what they were doing.
Oh, that's cool.
When the party got split up. So it's actually really cool, and it provides a lot more context. But the whole time I was just thinking, knowing that, the whole time I'm just thinking to myself, God, the people who play this game normally, like on PS4, for example, you're just like, the world ends, you become a fish, and then you basically have to like go and get your people back, not knowing what's going on with them.
God bless.
So it's just, the Switch version of this game is so clearly the version of this game that you should play. Like, if you want to play Dragon Quest XI and you have a Switch, there's no contest. This is just definitively better than the PS4 version or whatever. So, I'm still having a good time with it. But yeah, I'm only just now in Act 2, and I'm like 40 hours in.
That's some good shit. That's some really good shit.
It's bad. So, that's basically been what I've been up to, Todd. Are you ready for some news? We have quite a bit of news.
I'm always ready for the fucking news, Seth.
Quite a bit of news to talk about, some interesting topics of discussion. I want to start out by saying that the reason we're recording this episode actually a little bit late this week is because I would have bet
they
money.
Technically wouldn't know that, but
I know that. Well, yeah, the listeners, it would be unabated to the listeners regardless of what happened. But normally, you and I like to record on Wednesdays. And we usually only record on Thursdays if some sort of event is happening, if we know about, like, say, a Nintendo Direct ahead of time. We will wait until we can, kind of rope that into the weekly news, so that we're not recording and then, like, have to work it into next week's when it's already old news. You know what I mean?
Got to stay relevant.
Yes. Yes, so, but the fucking, we don't, it's not like Dragon Quest. We don't get a pleasant little fishy interlude between Nintendo Directs, Todd. We get agonizing waits between Nintendo Directs.
I wish I knew your pain.
Ugh. You don't understand.
I don't know your pain. I don't know. I'm just me. I enjoy it.
I wish I remembered what it was like to be me. The last time I was me was 163 days ago.
Oh, Lord, is that how long it's actually been?
Yes.
That disgusts me.
163 days.
That is a long time, though. Damn.
The last time we had a general Nintendo Direct was on my birthday last year. September 4th last year. When they shadow dropped Banjo and everything.
Holy shit.
That's the last time we've had a general Nintendo Direct. This is the longest gap in history between Nintendo Directs in the history of the format.
What's going on, Seth? No.
I mean, us hardcore Nintendo fans, like, we're just starved for information. I mean, like, we have Animal Crossing coming out. Cool. Great. That game comes out in about a month, and it's going to be awesome, right? And that's clearly going to be Nintendo's big game for the first half of the year. But, like, we're just sitting here not knowing anything else that's happening with the Switch. And, like, there hasn't been no Nintendo news. Obviously, we had Byleth come out. They had that little mini direct for Pokemon where they announced the expansions and stuff like that. But for the most part, we're just sitting here just jonesing, just starved for a direct. And Nintendo just, like, it feels like Nintendo looks at it's like that Rorschach quote. It's like, they will look up and shout, "Save us." And I'll look down and whisper, "No." Just
imagine the South Park cable company.
Yeah.
Just sitting there rubbing their nipples and shit.
Yeah, essentially. That's what it feels like. Doug Bowser over there. Doug Bowser in complete euphoria as he rubs his nipples, like drinking in our tears. He
loves it.
It's crazy. And the reason I think there's a few things going on here, because we've heard some, and first of all, we've heard some significant rumors and stuff like that we're actually going to be getting 2 Nintendo Directs this month, which is still possible. We do still technically have 2 weeks left of February. This being a leap year, of course, we get a little extra time in February. So it's still possible that we could have a Direct next week and the following week. The idea being that we're going to get a general Direct and then an Animal Crossing specific Direct. So very possible that this could still happen, but, like, it's just frustrating. Every week just waiting for something, just anything. We just want to have some sort of idea of what's going on. And then from what we're hearing, there's also going to be an Indie Direct in March. And it's like, okay, we know that news is boiling over there at Nintendo. They have things to share. But when are they going to share it?
When they want to, bitch.
And I can't really think of a great reason why. For Animal Crossing specifically, I mean, we've just been drip-fed content about Animal Crossing. This is their biggest game probably of the entire year.
Something's wrong with it, Seth. No, I'm just fucking...
No, I don't think anything's wrong with the game.
I know, I'm just talking shit.
I just think something's wrong with the way Nintendo is marketing this stuff and the way that Nintendo is delivering this information to their fans. I find it very odd. I literally have Animal Crossing New Horizons is downloaded, pre-purchased, and installed on my Switch as we speak. And we know very little about it. It's just weird. It's weird. And I think the onus is sort of on Nintendo to give the fans the information on this shit. I don't know. Todd depresses me. I don't want to talk about Nintendo Directs anymore. We'll get one day. Possibly next week.
You won't get shit, boy.
We will. We'll get one day. I'm trying to remain optimistic.
See, that's why I'm gonna be honest. I'm happy. I'm not that sort of person. I'm not.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where, like, imagine if. Well, let me put it to you this way: something that you're like a passionate fan about. Imagine if like Miyazaki was like, "Hey, every 3 months, I'm going to give you video updates on our From Software games." And like you get used to it over the course of a few years.
You're speaking my language there. Like obviously, I'd be sitting there a little annoyed.
Over the course of a few years, you get used to seeing them every like couple of months or whatever. They're really exciting. You make an event out of it. You're really looking forward to it. You get big, substantial updates. You're seeing Elden Ring gameplay, you know, and then you haven't had one since September. That's where we're at as Nintendo fans right now. So we're starved. Anyway, speaking of Animal Crossing, Todd, I've got there's some weird save data restrictions on this game. Have you heard about this?
I've probably heard of it, but refresh my memory, Seth.
Yeah, so New Horizons has got these weird, like, and Animal Crossing has always kind of had weirdness going on with their save data. First of all, just because of the nature of the games, it's one of the. I mean, the game is like it works in real time. Mm-hmm. There's like a persistent village, or in this case, island that is going on over the course of the game and stuff like that. So in this one, for starters anyway, players can only have one island per console.
Damn. Okay.
Now, note that I say per console. So even if you like try to make a separate island with a separate account on the same console, you can't do it.
It'll be the same. Basically, separate users will play on the same island.
Exactly.
Okay.
So if you want more than one island in the mix, you're going to have an entirely separate Switch console, which is a little weird. I'm assuming that there's some, like, again, I think there's some weirdness going on specifically with this game that dictates that the system would not be able to have two islands on it at once. Further, your save data is locked locally to the console. So the game does not support cloud saves or save backups. And the reason for this is to prevent hacking or like cheating the game. They don't want people to be able to hack their saves and stuff like that. They don't want to, for example, they don't want you to, they have the stock market or whatever, the stalk market in the Animal Crossing games. And they don't want it to be a situation where it's like, oh, hey, I lost. Let me just back up my cloud save to go back to a previous version of the game. You know what I mean? So it's shit like that. They're just trying to prevent people from cheating. And I respect that. But that means that if you, at least on the outset, when you look at that statement on paper, it's like, okay, so what happens if my Switch breaks? Or what happens if I want to transfer my stuff to a new Switch? Mm-hmm. I just can't do that?
That's a little dog shit if that's true.
It's not. So Nintendo did clarify that they're working on a special system that is specific to this game for Nintendo Switch Online members. So they're actually...
Dear Lord, that's a lot of extra steps for some bullshit.
Just for this game specifically, they have to make an entirely new thing to allow you to be able to transfer your save data.
I honestly wish you saw my face as you're telling me this.
Yeah. And
this sounds so fucking backwards.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
And by the way, this is only for Nintendo Switch Online members. So it seems to me, I mean, I don't know if this is true or not, but on the outset, it looks like if you are not a Nintendo Switch Online member, you're just kind of shit out of luck.
Yeah. Get fucked, boy.
Yeah, so... And granted, Nintendo Switch Online is cheap. Also noteworthy that the game actually includes a Nintendo Switch Online code when you buy it.
Oh yeah? For how long? Like a month?
I think it's a month or 30 days or something like that. I got a code for it when I pre-ordered my copy.
I mean, 30 days is a month, essentially.
Yeah, I think so. It's something like that. And it's... So in other words, if you wanted to, if you were vehement about not paying the fucking $20 a year or whatever it is for Nintendo Switch Online.
Hey, there's people in the world that act like they don't got $5 for fucking Disney.
Here's the deal. Video games, it's a hobby, and it's an expensive hobby. And I would say that if you cannot afford this kind of stuff, then there's a chance that you need to find another hobby.
That's real shit.
There are hobbies that don't cost money. There are a lot of things you can do for free. Video games is not one of them.
A lot of my hobbies are very, very expensive.
That's what I'm saying. It's
alcohol. No, that's a hobby. No.
I have a lot of expensive hobbies as well. I collect things. Whatever.
Oh yeah.
But like video games are not. You're not entitled to play video games. You have to buy this stuff, and if you can't afford to buy it, then I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like it's that sounds like a condescending thing to say, but it's just true. Video games are not like some sort of thing that we're owed as humans.
No, not at all.
It's entertainment. It's a hobby. You should have to pay for entertainment. Sorry. And yeah, they're free to play games, but you still got to buy the console and stuff like that. And it's like
still got to play. Yeah, pay for like the online service.
Yeah, and if you can't afford to pony up $20 for a year,
I mean, here's my thing. Overall, I think every single online service is reasonably priced.
Yes.
It's like $60 a fucking year for like the big ones.
Yes.
It's like, what, you can't do a one-time purchase a year of $60 damn dollars?
If you
shame.
If you really can't afford that, then you don't need to be playing video games. If you are in such dire straits that you cannot afford that, then it's like, dude, I'm sorry. You need to be like spending your money elsewhere. You don't need to be playing video games. Like, put that shit in your savings account or something. I don't know. Just this notion that like people should be entitled to this stuff is mind-boggling to me. Anyway, so it does seem like players who are not Nintendo Switch Online members are out of luck in that field. But in theory, you could just hang on to that. You could just hang on to that code, and then if something happens down the line, pop that code and utilize whatever system they're going to have in place.
That'd honestly be the smart way to do it.
So if you're so vehement about not paying $20 a year, you could certainly go that route, I suppose.
Shit, I don't even have to pay shit for it.
Yeah, and that's another thing. They've made it, I think it's $35 you can get a family plan, which is what we do. So I pay for the $35 a year family plan, and I can have up to 7 other people on it.
It's like, shit, I'm on it. My dad's
I've got
on
you,
it.
I've got your dad, I've got my wife, I've got Dan on it. It's like... And I could still...
I mean, technically, I think me and my dad have offered to, like, pay it, but
no,
you're like, $35. Who gives a
it's
shit?
nothing. and I would be paying it myself anyway. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, whatever. So, yeah, it's just... And then also, like, not only can you play online with it, but you get the NES and Super Nintendo games with it.
Which is cool. I fucked with it a little bit.
By the way, segue, because a new batch of games are coming. To those, to the Nintendo Switch Online apps there. It's actually on February 19th. You're going to get 2 games apiece for the NES and the SNES app. Now, don't get too excited, Todd, because the games themselves, weak as hell.
Trash? Okay.
Weak as hell. I'm going to be real with you.
Let me bring back that excitement.
Yeah, just rein it in a little bit, because it's nothing great. So... They're fine. They're fine. It's just very like.
No, I feel like I'm gonna be honest. The way you brought up that news, I got a little excited. I do blame you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, for the Super Nintendo, the 2 games are Poppin' Twinbee and Smash Tennis. It's like,
no,
all right,
I'm good.
For NES, it's Shadow of the Ninja and something called Eliminator Boat Duel.
I mean. I'll try it.
Pretty weak. So
you don't want to play Eliminator Boat Duel?
I mean, I'm a little curious, I guess. So I mean, I guess I am slightly intrigued. By the way, another quick thing I wanted to just PSA: Pokemon Home is now available. You can get that on your Switch. You can get it on your smartphone. And I detailed everything last week on the show that was happening with Pokemon Home. So I'm not going to re-detail it. But you can, of course, get the free plan for it. You can get the premium plan for it. It's all available now. Everything's live. Everything's good to go. I don't think I'm really going to fuck with it, personally. Because I don't really care to, like, go in and like transfer my Pokemon Sun and Moon shit. And, I'm good on all that. I'm just gonna stick with Sword and Shield. I'm cool. But it's there. It's cool for people that that are hardcore Pokemon fans that have been keeping up with this. So we'll see. Just a little PSA there. I've got another thing that I wanted to talk about just really briefly. We don't get political on this show. We don't usually talk about real world events too much on this show.
Oh no. What are we about to bring up, boy?
But I did.
You need to tell me these things beforehand.
So the reason I bring this up at all is because this does directly affect video games. This is a video game show. I'm not going to really cover world events or political stuff unless it directly affects the topics of discussion. So, as many of you probably know, there has been a devastating viral outbreak in China, the coronavirus.
It has a new name.
Well,
a proper name.
What is it now?
Oh, shit. And, I was hoping you'd know.
I didn't.
It does have a different name, though.
Oh, they changed it?
It's like it actually has like it's like what is it? What was this fucking the bird flu that had a different name?
Yeah.
They kind of got it like it has more of a name like that now.
It's the whole thing with the coronavirus is weird because they don't quite know. There's all these different theories.
By the way, it's COVID-19, COVID-19.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, huge viral outbreak. I mean, it's intense over there, and it's caused a lot of hardware and software delays in the video game space. A lot of this stuff happens in China. Notably, Nintendo Switch production and shipment to Japan from China has been halted completely in the wake of the coronavirus. And that has caused things like the new Animal Crossing Switch is now indefinitely delayed over there until this sort of gets sorted. It was kind of weird. I was like thinking and reading about this. They don't even quite know what started it. There are a few theories and there are a few studies. Like, I guess the pangolin, they like eat pangolin over there, and they think that might be the cause of it.
We go full tinfoil hat. You ready?
Oh God. Let's hear it.
A couple miles away, there's a goddamn biolab.
Uh-huh.
It's a fucking start using
big government
let everybody
conspiracy.
know. I am so into I love conspiracy. I love it.
You notice this all happens around that Trump impeachment.
No.
We gotta get the public attention away from that.
But I remember this. Like, that is one of the theories, though. It is like it comes from like a biolab. It's like actually like some fucking bullshit ass like weaponized ass thing that got out.
The latest that I had heard in terms of actual fucking research is that they eat the pangolin, and that is how it happened.
I mean, they do eat a lot. I thought it was bats originally.
So yeah, we've heard bats. The current front runner though is the pangolin.
Oh, they're just pulling the exotic animals out of their ass.
Because it's already like the Chinese smuggle and eat the pangolin and stuff like that.
That's the thing. They eat a lot of exotic weird shit.
By the way, have you ever seen a pangolin? Just Google pangolin and look at this thing.
Yeah, isn't it like essentially like almost like an armadillo?
It's similar, but it's like we talked about this actually. Weirdly enough,
how do you spell that shit? It's
Pangolin. It's a really cool animal. It's sort of like an armadillo. It's sort of like an echidna a little bit, but it's covered in these like armored scales.
It's got like
it looks like it's not of this world.
Because it's not.
Boy. Like if you showed me a render of a pangolin and told me like,
you would think it was like some fantasy creature. Or some
you
shit.
could be like, this is an enemy in Bloodborne 2.
That's
and I'd be like, yeah, tracks.
God, I can talk about that China shit for a while. Get me away from this topic.
I saw actually a video recently of a pangolin. By the way, they have like massive strength. I saw a video of a pangolin.
So you're still talking about the pangolins. I want to talk about another thing.
What?
You know, we don't got the real numbers.
Oh God. I like when I heard that they like capture these. I'm like, how? I saw a video of this thing literally taking a concrete wall and just ripping it apart like it was styrofoam.
Bullshit.
No shit. This pangolin is just sitting there just ripping off pieces of a concrete wall like it was absolutely nothing. Like it was wet paper. You know what? Here.
I bet you I got it. I'm looking.
I was about to say. Look at that shit.
What the fuck? I refuse to believe that's a sturdy wall.
No, bro. These things are strong. They have intense digging power. Anyway.
Yeah, dead ass is stripping a fucking concrete wall. Respect.
Anyway, apparently that's the current front-running theory, is that these things carry latently the coronavirus or whatever.
That's the theory they want you to think.
It honestly kind of elevates my opinion of the pangolin a little bit. I already liked the pangolin because we actually talked about the pangolin on Teen
you respect
Honey.
the pangolin for crippling
bringing a nation
superpower?
to its knees. But no, so to bring this all back around to the video game world,
they played with God.
yeah, they did. You mess with this like alien creature. It really does look like an alien.
It does. It definitely does.
It just looks like this eldritch disease carrying mutant, and it's just you mess with the bull, you get the horns, or you mess with the pangolin, you get the claws, I guess.
And now the whole world is basically going to get fucked.
Yeah. So to bring this back around to video games, so the way this is affected, we already talked about the Animal Crossing Switch indefinitely delayed in Japan. Furthermore, on a more global scale, the Switch port of the Outer Worlds has also been indefinitely delayed because the studio that was handling the port, Virtuous Games, is based in China. Publisher Private Division issued a statement about the delay, stating that, quote, "We're delaying the Outer Worlds on Nintendo Switch due to the coronavirus impacting the Virtuous team working on the port to provide them enough time to finish development," end quote. And they also clarify that they're working with the studio to determine a new launch date, and they will provide a new launch date soon. But yeah, it's interesting. Again, I would not have brought this thing up at all, and it's been going on for several weeks now. But I always sidestep things like this, and because it's just not relevant to our discussion here on the show. But neither is Olive Garden, I guess. So it was worth bringing up, and then talking about its actual impact on the games industry. There's a lot of stuff with China, man. Have you hear of Tencent?
Yeah.
Oh my god, Tencent's scary. Like that shit actually scares me. Like Tencent is like, you talk about a global superpower. That's the world's largest video game company, and it owns a lot. It owns more than most people would realize. Has an operating income of $79 billion. It's fucking crazy. Anyway, moving right along from the terrifying reality of the world. Valve announced today that Half-Life Alyx is coming on March 23rd, which is just a few days after Doom and Animal Crossing. So Todd, you don't have long to buy that new computer. To buy that new VR unit. Get all set up.
I don't give a single shit.
You don't give a shit about the game itself? Or...
I mean, I'll watch a playthrough.
I'm very interested in the game itself. And if I had the...
Interested in the game, but I don't care to get a whole VR setup.
No, if this were something that was more accessible, I'd be all about it. I'm not going to get a whole VR setup for it either, but I'm very intrigued by the game itself, and like you, I'll probably end up just having to watch a playthrough of it or something.
Yep.
Because I do really want to see what's going on with the game, of course. We've been, Half-Life has been so dormant for so long.
I'd say dead.
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly it's not dead. It's dormant because it's awake, right?
It's more of a resurrection, a revival.
I suppose. So I have something that might appeal to your interests.
Is that right?
Have you heard of a game called Below?
The The name sounds familiar.
So Below is by a studio called Capybara, and it's a roguelike, but it's very Souls inspired. Very Hyper Light Drifter-esque. It was originally a PC and Xbox exclusive. Well, it is making its way to PS4 this spring. And more importantly, it is bringing with it a brand new Explorer mode, which kind of removes a lot of the punishing elements of the game that turn players off of it. Because there's some people that love this game, and there's some people like, okay, I like challenge, this is bullshit. So...
Ooh.
What?
That's like... Yeah. I'm kind of down for a easy mode.
Yeah, so Explore mode, it's getting rid of things like... Apparently the base game had a thirst meter that you had to maintain.
Oh, fuck off.
Apparently there were like one-hit kill traps.
Oh.
And you also had to completely restart from the beginning if you died. So Explore mode is getting rid of that shit. It's also adding permanent checkpoints at bonfires so that when you die, you will not have to completely restart.
Sounds like a way better experience.
Yeah, it sounds like this is going to be the way to play. So I've got a quote here from the press release. It says, quote, Explore mode is our way of answering everybody who played Below at launch and found the challenge a bit too steep. It was clear that many players were intrigued by the game's haunting underworld and rich atmosphere, but its difficulty made the game inaccessible to some. We hope to see new players get into Below, and for seasoned players to revisit the Isle and enjoy the game in a whole new way. So immediately, my ears perk up. I'm like, now I'm interested in the game. Because I was not really interested in it at first.
A thirst meter really annoys me. Like, this sounds bullshit.
Exactly. So now I'm sort of like keeping my eyes peeled for this release in spring. Because the game is gorgeous. The soundtrack is awesome. And it's like, I really want to check it out.
Kind of off tangent, but you know what game I really want to see more of? Because we really haven't seen shit.
What's that?
Is the new game from Heart Machine.
Yeah, we got that initial announcement.
And like a little teaser trailer, and that was about it. And I'm like, I was thinking about that game, like maybe last week. I was like, oh yeah, that's a thing.
I suspect that you're going to be waiting a while for that. Just given the development cycle and how long it took to make Hyper Light Drifter. Yep. So
it is going to be something that I will go. I'll like when it does come out. It will be like a day one purchase for me now.
One of those few indie games that you actually give a shit about.
Oh, Hyper Light! I love Hyper Light Drifter.
So
love it.
I will definitely be keeping my eyes peeled for Below's PS4 release because I wanted to play it. Was turned off by the things I was reading. So,
but now you're turned.
But now I'm turned on. Turned all the way on. So, in an investor's call earlier this week, Ubisoft execs said that the publisher will release 5 AAA games by the end of March 2021. This includes the recently delayed Watch Dogs Legion, Gods and Monsters, and Rainbow Six Quarantine. They did clarify that this does not include Beyond Good and Evil 2. So, hope you weren't expecting that this year.
When the fuck is that game going to come out?
Dude, when they showed off, what was it? It was either last E3 or the E3 before or whatever, when they showed off like the in development and like, we're going to get the fans to make the art for the game. I was like,
oh yeah, that bullshit with Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, I was like, dude, this game is so far away it's not even funny. We'll be lucky to be playing this game in 2023 or 24. Like, dude, this game is so far out. If this game comes out, it'll be a fucking miracle. I would be shocked if they even let this game hemorrhage the amount of money it's probably going to hemorrhage. So yeah, that Beyond Good and Evil 2, spoilers, not coming out this year. Jason Schreier confirmed on Twitter that this also does not include a new Splinter Cell game. So...
rubbing salt in the wound, Schreier.
Dude, it sounds like Ubisoft just dead ass is completely unconcerned with Splinter Cell. It's not in the works.
It's funny is like, I want a fucking new Splinter Cell, like shit.
From what it sounds like, Splinter Cell is not in the works whatsoever over there at Ubisoft. They just don't care.
They just love rubbing salt in the wound with like the little cameos and shit.
Yeah, and so he says instead that the 2 mystery games there are actually just the new Assassin's Creed and a new Far Cry game.
Oh, God.
So, of course, the latter of which has been a poorly kept secret for about the past year or so. We've known for a long time that the new Assassin's Creed game is in the works. It's going to be about Vikings.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably jump into this one.
I can't wait.
I'm jumping right into that one. Let's fucking go.
So, the rumor is that's going to be called Assassin's Creed Ragnarok. We'll see. It's funny because we actually might hear about this in an official capacity pretty soon. The way Ubisoft typically unveils Assassin's Creed games is they typically will unveil them in like March, April, and it'll be like a Game Informer cover story,
Yeah.
And they'll kind of unveil the game, and then they'll give more details at E3, and then the game will launch in fall. So we'll see.
I feel like I might skip a new Far Cry because Far Cry hasn't really been.
It depends on the tact. It depends on the way they go with it. I still find Far Cry enjoyable. If it is going to follow just the same formula that they've been following since Far Cry 3, I don't know how interested I'm going to be. I think Far Cry 5 is kind of the last time they could have gotten away with that with me.
Yeah, they need to like shake some shit up, man. It's just, I honestly feel like every game, like you are playing essentially like the same fucking game.
And look, fuck. I'm having a good time with them. It's fine, whatever. But Far Cry, the way Far Cry is now, is the way Assassin's Creed used to be, where they annualized it. There was no real change to it, and the series got stagnant, and they had to take some time off and completely revamp it. Well, I think Far Cry is now the next thing on the chopping block for that. So unless they're going to do something crazy and exciting with this new Far Cry, I'm kind of good. I don't really expect that to happen. I expect it to be Far Cry 6, and I expect it to be exactly like all the other recent Far Cry games.
Yep, so. And I will more than likely pass on it.
We shall see, Todd. But that's what's going on with Ubisoft. All of these games are expected to launch by next March, so we will certainly keep an eye on that. Speaking of Ubisoft, segue, some exciting things are happening for The Division 2. So, players of this game have been waiting for expansions. The expansions have been constantly getting delayed. There's been a bunch of problems with the game that people want to see fixed from launch. But earlier this week, Ubisoft revealed their plans for the game's future. So, on March 3rd, the large-scale Warlords of New York expansion will be released, which is going to bring the game back to New York. I think there's actually going to be 4 new territories that are based in New York that are going to be added to the game. I think the base game has got 11 territories, so pretty sizable.
Yeah.
Pretty sizable, almost half of the landmass that's featured in the base game. It's also going to bring some major overhauls to the game's structure, namely, The Division 2 is going to be adopting a seasonal format after Warlords of New York launches. So the existing endgame content is going to be reconfigured and tweaked to tell 3-month narratives that are going to be kind of seasonal.
Oh, they're doing the Destiny 2 route.
Yeah, and so these are going to have new tasks, new global events, new audio logs, new hunts, new enemies, stuff like that. But in the lead up to this, and this is another sort of PSA for you guys, the game has been extremely discounted. You can grab the base version of this game for $3 right now.
Lord knows we bought that shit.
It was so funny because I saw somebody talking about this on Twitter, and I was like, no fucking way. I thought it was a troll. And I loaded up my PlayStation app, and I went to the store, and sure enough, the base game, $3.
And then, you screenshotted it and then sent it to me, and I was like, what? Okay.
It's I don't know if or when we're going to have time to play this game, but how do you turn down that price?
That's $3. It's
$3. It's what? You can get the ultimate edition of the game for
and I think that's $7. I think the most expensive version is $17.
Yeah, that the ultimate edition is normally $130 or something like that. And now it's literally on, I think everything's literally on a 95% discount.
It's fucking disgusting.
It's absurd. And as you astutely pointed out before we started recording, it is essentially the same energy and the same strategy that Bungie had with Destiny 2, where they offered that game free for PlayStation Plus members in the build-up to Forsaken.
It's just like, get everybody in, see if they want to stay, you know?
Yeah, get them in, drum up some interest. I mean, look, it worked for us. We bought a copy of the game.
I mean, again, will we find the time? Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe. Shit.
I mean, look, we played the Division 1 for a little bit and had fun with it.
I enjoyed what we played with the Division 1. Like, it just was one of those things. Like, ran out of time, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, I suspect that and it's funny because I was thinking to myself, like, why didn't they just make this free? But I suspect that deal was already in place for the February PS Plus game. They probably were too late on the jump for that.
Yeah.
So, they
still
already
though, it's pretty fucking close to free.
It's pretty fucking close to free. I mean, so this is, by the way, a limited time price. It's not going to stay this price.
I forget. It's lasting, I think, till I don't remember.
It's lasting until Warlords of New York comes out. On March 3rd. So you've got some time.
Oh yeah.
You've got some time to drum up $3 and join the Division 2 and check that game out.
Go mow some motherfuckers' lawns.
Go mow. It's $3.
I know.
Look in your couch. Like
look at your couch.
It's like,
oh shit.
Bust open the piggy bank. Save your change at Starbucks in the morning for a few days, and you'll be good. Anyway.
Oh, Lord.
So that's something that we're going to check out at some point. I did, just real quick, I don't know if we'll do any video content for the Division 2. I guess it depends on how much it grabs us, but I did want to say that we are planning on doing at least one video for
Darksiders Genesis, yeah.
Yeah, for Darksiders Genesis. I think we're just going to kind of record our first session.
I mean, I'm not going to say it like it won't be a series. It has the possibility of becoming something. But
we'll see. We do want to get some more video content up on the channel, so we are going to do that. You should look out for that within the coming days, and we are going to do that at some point. So, one last bit of news, Todd, and it's a meaty one, and one that I suspect that we can get a. This is I saved this for last for a reason. I'll say that.
Oh no.
So, in what feels like to me is its final death knell, Jeff Keighley announced this week that he would not be involved with or attending E3 2020.
Oh, God.
And he will not be producing E3 Coliseum this year. This marks the first time in 25 years that Jeff Keighley has not been involved with the show.
Shall we have a sad violin playing in the background here? Like, fuck E3 is just not important.
This is the year where, like this is the final. This is the death knell right here.
I actually didn't hear about this.
Yeah, so Keighley
I'm surprised I didn't.
He announced this via his personal Twitter. He said, quote, "I have made the difficult decision to decline to produce E3 Coliseum. For the first time in 25 years, I will not be participating in E3. He continued saying that, quote, "a ton of factors fueled his decision, and that he, quote, doesn't really feel comfortable in participating, given what I know about the show as of today." So people kind of like took to Twitter to ask him questions about his decision and what he thinks the show needs to do to stay alive. Because he did say, he was like, look, I think there is a place for E3. I think E3 can stay alive. But he says, quote, "I think E3 needs to become more digital and global. Mm-hmm. It's a brand that means a lot to people, but it shouldn't just be a show floor."
Dead ass.
So it just seems like as E3 has gone on and on, it's become more about the money. It's become more about the actual show floor. It's become more about booth space, and it's just gotten out of hand. And a lot of people are starting to pull out. Of course, Sony officially pulled out of the show for the second year in a row. And it's funny because we got, so the floor, the E3 2020 show floor layout was leaked. And we noticed on the leaked show floor layout that Nintendo has got no reserved space on the show floor. Mm-hmm. So could it be indicating that Nintendo is also skipping E3? The ESA says no. The ESA says that Nintendo is not skipping E3 this year. But we'll see. I don't know. And there's all this weirdness going on with E3 and a struggle to stay relevant. But I mean, like, dude, Jeff Keighley not being involved in E3, that's when you know E3's dead.
That's insane to me, dude. Shit.
I heard that Luke Skywalker quote from Return of the Jedi, like, then my father is truly dead. I just heard that in my head. I'm just like, when I read that headline, I was like, then E3 is truly dead.
Yeah, dude.
If Jeff Keighley doesn't want to be... Dude, that's like Santa Claus not coming to Christmas. That's like Santa Claus being like, I've made the difficult decision to not be involved with Christmas this year. It's like, what?
Oh. I mean, we've been saying this about E3 for a fucking while now, though. It's like,
just the hard realization. This is when it really hit me.
Yeah. This is one of those like slap you in the face realization. It's like, ooh.
This is when I was really like, yeah, E3 is dead. I'm like, I'm not gonna have my predictions this year. We're not gonna be doing our typical E3 coverage this year because there's not gonna be an E3 to cover.
Really? That's fucking weird, man. It's a little depressing because that's what rung in like Nerd Bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
That's what rung in this like newish Nerd Bourbon that we've been doing for God knows how long.
It was such a thing. E3's been a staple of my life for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it is depressing, but I think the future is personalized smaller shows for like PlayStation doing their own thing. I could see Xbox doing their own thing. I think that's the way it's going to go. So.
The thing about this whole industry is this industry is such a competitive industry, and E3 has beat its chest for far too long and has acted like it is the first and last word in gaming conventions for too long. Not realizing that quietly, it's like, okay, cool. We have like 5 PAXs. We have Gamescom. We have Tokyo Game Show. We have Paris Games Week. We have the Game Awards. It's like, if you want exposure for your product, you don't have to put up with E3's bullshit anymore.
No, not at all.
So when you take something that is in a fiercely competitive market and it is also unwilling to change, like, you show me that thing and I will show you something that's going to die.
How many times we've brought like that sort of like that exists in like,
I've talked about it with the battle Battle Royale games. I've talked about it with developers. I've talked this is a persistent thing. The video games industry is the most fluid and ever-changing entertainment industry, dude.
There has to be a loser.
We are on the cusp of such change. I really do think that, like, honestly, the way things are going, and this is something that people have been talking about for a while, it's like this is probably going to be the last traditional console cycle. Mm-hmm. Honestly. It's going to get to the point where we're all streaming the shit. And it's...
And definitely, like, the future is streaming. But...
And we're even moving to this place of, like, console and platform agnosticism, where you're starting to see Xbox games pop up on Switch. You're starting to be able to stream your shit anywhere. PlayStation, which is the most sort of stoic and sort of like, fuck you, we don't want to play nice. Even they sent out surveys recently that were like, hey, would you like to play your games with an Xbox controller?
Oh my!
Would you like to stream your PlayStation Now to your tablet and your Xbox and your Switch? I think they literally actually name dropped the Nintendo Switch. Would you like PlayStation Now to be available on Nintendo Switch?
Again, I think I love that though. I love the fact that like the developer, Sony, PlayStation, they're all kind of like coming together in a way for shit like that.
Well, this is the stuff that, again, the industry is evolving so much, and video games as an entertainment medium are evolving so much. You have to change or die. Adapt or perish.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. And E3 it's just another one bites the dust with E3. You're gonna do the same shit. You're not gonna adapt. You're not gonna grow.
I mean, as much as like I know E3 is like basically on death's door here, it does depress me. Mm-hmm. Because I just think about like I've just watching it with you almost like every year for like God, like how long have we been watching it?
Yeah, together? Watching the shows live. I wake up early and get my coffee and I write my notes, and I love doing that. I love covering E3, but I mean it's not this year. It's going to be depressing when E3 time rolls around because there's not going to be anything to cover.
I think the funniest thing to me is like it's just like I think people assumed Sony would be back for this year. Like because I mean, they announced, they assumed they'd announce like they'd show up, show off PS5.
Dude, yeah, there's new consoles coming out,
and but even with that, Sony's like, go fuck yourself.
Yep, they don't have to do it anymore.
That was in my mind. That was like the first sign. I'm like, ooh, yeah, E3's fucked.
Sony was really the first one to realize it. Mm-hmm. Sony was the first one to dip out and be like, you know what? Actually, fuck this. They were like, I have an idea. Actually, fuck this. That was basically it. They were the first ones to dip out like that. And it's going to be one by one. I think you're still going to see like, and it's hilarious because who are the people that are probably still going to hang out for E3? It's going to be EA and Ubisoft and these mega publishers that feel like they need to have a presence there.
Yeah.
Like, It's crazy, man. I bet Bethesda's probably still going to be there.
Bethesda will always be there for some fucking reason. When
and
they
by
don't
the
have
way,
shit to show.
I'm about to say, and by the way, these always unilaterally end up being the shittiest press conferences anyway.
Without a fucking doubt, EA is basically the fucking Indiana Jones face melter. Fucking shit.
So we're just gonna have to see. I mean, it's gonna be weird and interesting, and much like to follow my own advice, Todd. I think that is something that you and I are gonna have to talk about. How are we gonna cover?
Yeah, that'll be
E3 moving on.
When we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Could I also just, as we're just talking of E3, can I still just shout out to the moment when Elder Scrolls 6 little shitty teaser? And everyone's stupid ass stood the fuck up and were like screaming. It's like, crying. What are you fuckers excited for? There was nothing. It was a fucking mountain, you assholes.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. We're going to have to look, we're going to have to completely reformat the way we cover these things. I mean,
God, that's weird.
It's going to E3 is not going to be the way we normally cover E3 is going to have to change.
It's going to be a news drop.
Yeah, it's just going to be part of a standard episode.
Part of the fucking news. It's like, God, that's depressing.
Yeah, I have my own ideas that we'll talk about. But whenever we do...
off recording, yeah.
Yeah, whenever we do come to a decision and figure out the way we're going to be handling this stuff moving forward, of course, we will update you guys on the show. We will never keep you in the dark about our strange machinations. Yeah, Todd, that's about all I've got for you this week. Would you like to add anything else before we wrap it up?
I think that's about it, man.
All right. Fuck you three. We'll catch you guys next week. Thanks for listening. Get fucking dunked on. Bye.
See ya.
Hey there, thanks for checking out another fantastic Nerd Bourbon video. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, be sure to go ahead and subscribe, leave us a like, drop us a nice comment, or I guess a mean one if that's your prerogative. But until next time, get dunked on.